I spent hours learning the math behind sports betting. How do sports books work? What are fair odds? How does a book determine odds? When does a book decide to move odds? I spent a ton of time. I invested a lot in my betting education, and I ultimately got really turned on to arbitrage. So I made some money from these, sportsbook sign-up bonuses, and essentially what arbitrage betting is, it's a strategy, a risk-free betting strategy, which is insane, but you'll see hundreds of people talking about how much money they're making arbitrage betting on YouTube, Reddit, Twitter. There are tons of people making money with this strategy nowadays. I learned about arbitrage. Okay, so what arbitrage is it's when you can hedge for a guaranteed profit. So all sports books want to be unique. They all set their own odds. So when two books get super out of sync, you can bet equal and opposite outcomes, maybe the over on FanDuel, the under on DraftKings, and you can guarantee a profit. So it is a risk-free form of betting. You make risk-free money if you're doing it correctly. So it's incredible, right? Because there were hundreds of sports books that had launched in the United States, dozens in Pennsylvania, dozens in New Jersey, right? All these books are trying to set their own odds. So essentially, these books get out of sync often. The market, especially when sports books first launched in the US, when it first legalized, it was a super inefficient betting market. Bet the over on FanDuel, under on DraftKings, make a risk-free $20. That would pay for beer for the weekend. I loved it. So I would get home from work and I would just scan the market. I was doing this manually, which is insane. Okay, so I would get home from work, I would look at all these sports books for discrepancies and try to make a risk-free profit with arbitrage betting. As my bankroll kind of grew, I would aim before I went to bed to make $100 of risk-free profit. I would get home from work at 5 p.m., open up the sports books, one tab for each book, look through them all, look for discrepancies, follow, injury updates and look for discrepancies between books when lineup news came out. And I started making some serious cash. So ultimately, that's what drove me to get into sports betting full time. As I was making money with promos and then arbitrage betting, these were the main two strategies I was using initially, is taking advantage of profitable promos and arbitrage betting, a way to make risk-free money. I spent a lot more time invested in learning about profitable sports betting. I read papers, I watched limitless YouTube videos, limitless Reddit threads, kind of learning about all these different strategies. And ultimately, at some point, I loved my job, I loved trading, but ultimately, at some point, it was like, dang, I'm making $10,000 a month on the side as a side hustle, sports betting. Why am I going to work, right? In Pennsylvania, I could spend some time in Virginia with my family. I'm initially from Virginia. I could travel to different states, do all these sportsbook sign-up bonuses, make money arbitrage betting. I spent time investing in my betting education. So I knew how to beat the sports books. I knew I was smarter, more educated than 99% of sports bettors. And I don't say that in a way to mean I'm naturally smarter. I say that in a way to mean, I'd spent thousands of hours, right, learning about these profitable betting strategies, the ins and outs of sports books, how sports books work. Whereas most people open up FanDuel and just bet random parlays with their gut, I knew the ins and outs of every single book. Everything you need to know about sports betting and making money, I understood to a T. So ultimately, I felt comfortable being like, wow, let's dive in. And obviously, I've lived in different places, so I've used hundreds of different sports books at this point.